Hi everyone, welcome to ForTheGeeks. In this video, I'm going to show you how you can implement infinite scrolling in a React application. I will use Intersection Observer API to do so. Let's see how we can do that. So I create a React app. Intersection Observer API, it observes the target element. When your target element reaches the viewport, you can trigger, for instance, loading or call another API and get more data. So it basically detects the visibility of an element and that helps you with infinite scrolling. So I created the React application here. I navigate inside that and then I will install the Intersection Observer package. This is the version of the package API, that is 0.12.2. Now I will show you how you can, if you have an API that gives you data with pagination, you can use that, but I thought if you don't have one, probably you can use one from TMDB. TMDB is a popular user editable database for movies and TV shows. You can go to their documentation, go to their getting started link on their website, and you can see what currently available methods are for movies, TVs, and actor images. I'm using their popular API. I will show you how am I using it. So I sign up with the account first. So you have to enter username, password, and your email address and click on sign up. Once you click on sign up, you will get a verification email. Just do that, and then you have to log in to your TMDB account. Click on API. So I'll just show you the URL. You can see it's /request, API/request. Click on developer tab there. It gives you terms of use, so it's just terms and conditions. Go through that and accept it. Then you have to enter the application name. So I just named it infinite scrolling application. I gave the URL because I'm doing it on my local host, so I just entered the same. Just enter some summary here, and then enter all these credentials, all these details like your first name, last name, email address, phone number, and all, and just do a submit. So I have to enter more details in the summary. So yeah, so I just did that, and then I submitted it. Once I submitted, I got a API read access token, so I just copy pasted it, and I will need it soon to make API calls, so just keep the API token handy. Now this is where I was talking about the getting started link, where you can see all the list of currently available methods. So if you scroll down here and you can see how to find data, click on that, finding data. I clicked on search here, and then it shows you a list of available options that you can call the API with, call the database with the API. So I selected the popular API. It expects an access token, and you can try it out here. Try it out, and I know that the API key works, but I also tried it from the Postman. By the way, if you want to see how to install this Postman extensions and what all extensions I use, I have a separate video for that. Check in my playlists or in the description box below. I make this API call with the API key, and I get the response back. So that means that okay, my API setup is correct, and now I can get back to the React application and do the infinite scrolling project that we were doing initially. Get rid of the whole app component, and I will create my own in here. I'm creating few variables here like data, and then page variable to keep track of the page when we implement the pagination. Loading flag to know if the API is under call, like if you are calling the API, then the loading state will be true, and once API returns the response, the loading will be false. I will show you where these variables are being used once I get to that. But yeah, currently just created three variables, and then I create observer target, which is a ref that the API will be looking or observing. What I do is I create an observer target variable and I use the ref. So basically it will look at the HTML property because it's using the ref thing, right? So and then I import useState and useRef and useEffect from React. I create a div inside another div, so the inner div has a ref observer target variable that we created on line 8. Create a style background color just so that when we reach this part of the div, when there is an intersection, I can see the loading thing or something of those sorts so that it's visible. So I'm just adding some color black, font weight of bold, and background color orange. Add some styling here, so I give a class name of app and container. Very basic styling, nothing special. I'm just leaving a placeholder here, that is where my future component will be. For now, I just create a div, put in some hard-coded text like some component, and I put an loading thing. So basically, if we are not loading, that is when this component has to be displayed. So I do an npm start after the build. It brings up my application and shows the text sum component. So you can see how it is currently. It shows loading with an orange background. Loading is the bottom part of the div that this app component is returning. Now what I will do is I will use effect hook, and I will call fetch movies, which is basically the call that I will make to the TMDB API. And currently I just design it on the page variable, right? So if page changes, then I want to make a fetch movies call. That's the idea. So when you are trying to scroll, your page will change, and then you try to make the fetch movies API call. This is the fetch movie. I just create a constant here, and then I call another use effect. I create another use effect hook. This is on the load of it. So when we initially get to this page, I need to load the component. With whatever data I have. So right on the load also, I call this fetch movies function that I'll be writing soon. In here, I use this intersection observer API after we do the fetch movies. We are saying that whatever I'm writing, observe. I send the entries to it, which is a callback that intersection observer API takes. And the first match in there, if it is intersecting, and if we are not loading, then just increment the page by 1. I will set the threshold now. So threshold can go from 0.1 to 1. 1.0 means observer will only trigger when 100% of the target element is visible. If the loading div is not fully visible, the observer won't trigger in such scenarios. But you can try lowering it. So I did it 0.1. So that means it will trigger the observer when even a small part of the element is visible. We say if the element is visible, then start observing. And that's how we do it below. So I'm just showing you that. So we create an observe target.current. If it is true, then we call the API as observer.observe and set observer target.current to it. What we are doing here is observing whether the user has scrolled down to the bottom of the viewport. At end of this user effect, I will just clean up. So I will do an unobserve of the observer target.current. So now let's do the fetch movies function. So initially I set loading to true because we are going to make an API call. I set up the URL. So this is the TMDB popular API with page number currently set to the initial value. And then I send in the options. So method of get, I send in the header, so authorization of API key has to be sent in. I attach the API key to the authorization bearer, and the key itself I have just extracted it out into a constants variable. This is pretty standard, just making the API call using fetch. So I convert the response to a JSON object. I just print it on the console here. So you can see it does print with all the results here, right? So all the movies or whatever it returns, the API returns, I just get it here. And it is the first 20. And I update the data state. And I put the JSON result what I get in here. And whatever data we get, I have to map it because I want to extract it in a component, right? And I want to show a card kind of thing. So whatever data I get, I iterate through that. I'm adding some styling to this basic bootstrap stuff here, right? And then I create a new component called movie component. I create this movie component, and this is the component that will be shown on the UI as we iterate through the data received from the API. This movie component takes an item prop, and from that prop you can get the original name, profile path, popularity. I'm extracting these three variables. You can check whatever the API returns and whatever you want to use it. You can use it. I'm just extracting these three components at the moment, these three properties at the moment. I use this profile path to create the image URL, and I will show an image in my component. I created a pretty standard movie component here that uses the image URL to create an image, shows the original name as the title, and use the popularity index kind of thing to show popularity, right? So this is just a component that I created, and I just use this in here while I iterate it. So basically you will see the list of movie components in here. And it needs an item, so I send item property to the movie component, and that's it. So it still complains about data.map is not a function, and I just realized on debugging that the data I am setting at the top is not right. So on closer inspection, I realized that the API returns the result, but it's the result of results object that I need, response of results object is that I need to use, and within this results is what I have an array. So I was setting it wrong here, so I have to do JSON.results. After that, you can see I get these movie components basically that I'm creating in here, right? And as I scroll down, you can see that it loads more. Scroll down again and it loads more, and you can see it just quickly did a loading thing. So what I'll do is I'll just do a 3G so that I can show you the loading thing. So I scroll down more below, and you can see it's loading, and then it makes the API call and gets more movies, right? Movie popular actors or whatever it is. So this is how you can implement infinite scrolling. The source code of this I will put it in the description box below. It's shared in GitHub, and I also have created a blog on the same, so you can check out my blog. I'll put that link too in the description box below. I hope you guys liked it and found it useful. If you liked it, or if you have any queries, do put it in the comments. If you liked the video, just press the like button so that I know the video was useful for you. That's all guys, thanks for watching, bye bye, take care.